Stop for a moment. Before any thought, before any doubt arises, there's something in the air right now. A feeling that's hard to explain but impossible to ignore. As if time had slowed down just so you could hear. Perhaps you called it intuition. Perhaps he thought it was just tiredness. But it wasn't. Because certain messages don't get through with noise. They arrive in silence. And they can only be understood by those who have been prepared to listen. Do you remember that dream? Not the common, confused, shapeless dream, but the one that seemed more real than reality itself. The one that left a strange impression when you woke up. It's as if something has been activated inside you. None of this was random. The universe doesn't awaken people without a reason. He doesn't touch certain consciences by mistake. When something begins to move in the invisible realm, it first gives warning through subtle signs. Dreams, sensations, unexpected pauses, recurring thoughts. And you felt it. Lately, you may have noticed some quiet changes. Things that once made sense have begun to lose their impact. People who seemed like permanent fixtures began to drift apart. Old plans have lost their appeal. And without knowing exactly why, you started to become more selective, more attentive, more reserved. This is not a closure, it's preparation. When the universe moves, it doesn't push, it repositions. He rearranges the scene before something big is revealed. And those who don't understand, this try to resist. But those who understand, observe. There's a reason why your life seems to be entering a transitional point right now. It's not a rupture, it's alignment. Something has already begun to move, even if it doesn't yet have a form, even if you can't name it, even if everything looks the same on the outside. What changes first is never the world, and you. And if this message has reached you now, it wasn't by chance. Messages like this don't appear twice at the same moment in life. They arrive when you're ready to listen, and they disappear when they are ignored. Before we move on, allow me to ask something simple, yet powerful. Do you feel that something bigger is about to happen, even without proof? So stay here. If this message is speaking directly to you, leave a like now. And subscribe to the channel to stay connected. Because the next messages will only reach those who are aligned with the right moment. If you look back honestly, you'll realize something that has always been there. An invisible pattern. His life never followed the easy path. It was never easy. It was never linear. While others received shortcuts, you received tests. While some advanced quickly, you advanced with weight. And yet, he continued. This didn't happen because you were forgotten. It happened because you were chosen for something different. There are people who are destined for comfort, and there are people destined for construction. And you always belong to the second. A group. From an early age, perhaps I felt I was carrying more responsibility than I should have. That needed to mature ahead of schedule. That you couldn't fail in the same way as the others, because the price always seemed higher for you. None of this was punishment. It was polishing. The universe does not entrust delicate tasks to inexperienced hands. He tests, observes, presses, and only then does he deliver what really matters. You were prepared in silence, while no one was watching, while no one applauded. Each frustration, each long wait, each period of loneliness had a specific function: strengthen your internal structure. Because what is beginning to move now requires someone who doesn't become easily destabilized. It requires someone to provide for it. That remains. Someone who understands the value of time. His life never followed normal patterns because his destiny doesn't either. What many would call a delay, it was, in fact, synchronization. What seemed like stagnation. It was an invisible alignment. And now, as the pieces begin to move, you feel something strange. A mixture of calm and anticipation. As if, finally, everything was falling into place. You weren't born to react impulsively. You were born to build something that lasts. And that is precisely why, at this moment, the universe is beginning to respond differently to you. No rush, but with precision. Nothing in his life was wasted. Nothing was in vain. Nothing was forgotten. Everything was preparing you to recognize this moment. The moment when something big starts to move. Without warning, without noise, but with absolute certainty. Breathe, observe, and stay alert, because the next point reveals why this phase demanded so much of you. And what did this silently awaken within those who tried to follow its path? There was a period in his life that almost no one noticed. A time when you were physically present, but emotionally absent. Not because she wanted to distance herself, but because something inside you needed to reorganize itself. You kept working. He fulfilled his responsibilities. He maintained his composure. He moved on. But inside, there was too much silence. Perhaps you felt misunderstood, or worse, invisible. As if what you were carrying was too heavy to share. And then you stopped explaining. It stopped asking for validation. He stopped trying to be understood by those who didn't have enough depth to listen. This was the most important period of his development, and also the loneliest. Because when the universe prepares someone for something greater, it first removes distractions. He tests limits. He observes how you react when there is no applause, support, or assurances. And you resisted. Even when everything seemed to be at a standstill. Even when the effort went unrecognized. Even when the responses took longer than expected. You learned something fundamental in this process. Not everyone deserves access to their essence. And that changed you. You've become more selective, quieter, more aware. Not out of coldness, but for clarity. This isolation was not a mistake. It was a filter. People who couldn't keep up with his pace were left behind. Fragile ties broke naturally. And gradually you realized that loneliness wasn't weakening you. I was strengthening you. Because only those who can endure the silence can hear what comes next. And now, looking back, something is starting to make sense. That phase didn't break you. She refined you. She taught you to trust external noise less, and even more so in what moves silently within you. That was the invisible proof, the one that nobody applauded, which no one validated. But it was precisely she who prepared you to recognize the present moment. Because when something big starts to move, only those who have experienced the silence can understand it first. And in the next point, you'll understand why your presence provokes such intense reactions in people. Even when you don't say a single word, there's something about you that can't be put into words. It doesn't require explanations. And it definitely doesn't depend on intention. It's your presence. Even when you are silent, something moves around you. People can sense it, even if they don't know how to explain it. Some approach with respect, others are curious, and some with resistance, because not everyone can feel comfortable around someone who possesses inner consistency. You don't force authority. It doesn't require attention, but it still happens. His demeanor reveals more than long speeches. His consistency exposes the inconsistencies of others, and that for many is uncomfortable. Without realizing it, you trigger comparisons, internal questions, sensations that people would rather not feel. That's why, in certain environments, the atmosphere changes when you arrive, not because of tension, but for adjustment. Energy is being reorganized. Some try to compete, others try to downplay it. Some feign indifference, but everyone feels it, because those who maintain silence with integrity force others to confront what they avoid within themselves. You don't confront, you mirror, and mirrors don't appeal to everyone. This is why you often notice strange reactions without understanding the cause. Sudden distancing, changes in behavior, defensive responses where there was no attack. None of this happens by chance. Its energy awakens dormant truths, and not everyone is ready to deal with that. When you walk away, it's not a punishment. It's a natural consequence. The universe doesn't demand confrontation when the lesson has already been taught. He simply moves the pieces. And the curious thing is that often people only realize the impact of their absence after you've already repositioned yourself. Because your strength is not in what you say. It's in what remains when you choose not to stay. In the next section, you will understand why. This specific moment, it marks a turning point. And because what has begun to move can no longer be stopped, there is a specific moment in life when the universe stops observing, and then it starts to act. It is not a visible event. It doesn't come with an advertisement. It doesn't have an immediate impact. but everything changes. This moment will never arrive for those who are distracted. It arrives for those who have crossed the silence without getting lost in it. And now, something begins to move around you with precision. You can feel it in subtle ways. A decision that arises effortlessly, an unexpected clarity, a no that finally comes out without guilt, or a yes that previously seemed too distant. It's not an impulse. It's alignment. The universe doesn't speed up when you ask it to. It speeds up when you're ready to handle what comes next. And you are. Therefore, things that previously required strength now only require presence. Situations that seemed confusing are beginning to resolve themselves. People drift, apart without conflict. Others reappear with a clear intention. None of this is a coincidence. When destiny begins to move, it silently rearranges the scene, removing excess, shortening paths, closing cycles that have already served their purpose. You don't need to chase after it. You don't need to prove anything. There's no need to react. Anything that requires a reaction is no longer part of the next level. This is the point at which life begins to respond to who you have become, not what you want, but to what you support. And the more steadfast you remain, the more the flow adjusts in your favor. This phase doesn't require anxiety. It requires attention. Because what's coming doesn't need to be rushed. It needs structure. And you spent enough time building this. In the next section, you will understand why. You don't need to defend yourself. Why don't you retaliate? And why, when you walk away, life takes control. There is a law that few people understand. She doesn't appear in the books. It doesn't need to be announced. And it doesn't require you to do anything. She simply acts. When you step away in silence, something bigger starts moving, not as punishment, but as a balance. You don't need to seek justice when you live in alignment. You don't need to explain yourself when your conscience is clear. And you don't need to retaliate when your attitude already says it all. Life recognizes this. There is a profound difference between those who react on impulse and those who choose to retire with dignity. The first one generates conflict. The second one triggers consequences. You've learned over time that persisting where there's no reciprocity is a waste of energy. Arguing with someone who doesn't listen is a way of distancing yourself from yourself. And remaining where respect has been lost is a silent form of self-abandonment. Therefore, when you decide to walk away, there is no anger. There is clarity. And it is at this moment that the invisible law begins. To act, not immediately, not in a spectacular way, but exactly. Things are starting to fall into place for those who stayed behind. Choices begin to weigh heavily. Situations keep repeating themselves. Unresolved patterns are returned, not because you wanted to, but because balance requires correction. The universe does not protect those who attack. He protects those who uphold consistency. And when you leave the scene quietly, without revenge, no need for recognition. Life takes on a role that is no longer yours. You don't need to prove your worth. It's already registered. You don't need to justify yourself. The truth requires no defense. And that is why, often those who underestimated its absence begin to feel its weight. Not because of the pain, but because of the emptiness that settles in when something essential is taken away. This is the law that comes into effect when you choose silence. She doesn't accelerate. She never fails. She simply does what needs to be done. At the next point, the message becomes intimate, direct. Guys, because there is something that needs to be said to you, not as a warning, but as recognition. There's something about you that almost no one recognizes, not because it's invisible, but because it requires maturity to be understood. You uphold more than you demonstrate. It carries more than it shares, and keep going even when the tiredness is real. Many times you were strong when all you needed was to be understood. He was rational when he needed support, and you remained steadfast when everything inside you was begging for rest. This did not go unnoticed. Even when nobody said anything, even when there was no return, even when it seemed like the effort wasn't being noticed, you have not been forgotten. The universe observes those who remain righteous when there is no guarantee of reward. And that has weight. There is a type of tiredness that doesn't come from the body, but from the repetition of giving more than one receives. To expect maturity where there is still confusion. to support structures that no longer make sense. And you felt it. He felt it when he stopped explaining, when he started choosing his battles more carefully, when he realized that not every separation is a loss. Some are liberation. This phase demanded a lot from you, and for that very reason, it didn't come about by chance. You are entering a cycle where life no longer demands sacrifice. He asks for a position. It's not about getting tougher. It's about respecting your own limits. It's not about closing your heart. It's about not leaving it open to those who don't know how to take care of it. And if, at some point, you questioned whether you were doing the right thing by walking away, find out about this now. You chose yourself, and that choice changes everything. At the next point, there is a final warning, not as a threat, but as a silent reminder that this moment should not be ignored. There are moments in life when the universe speaks only once. Don't insist. Don't repeat yourself. Don't pressure me. He simply presents the sign, and watch what you do with it. This is one of those moments, not because something bad is about to happen, but because something important is coming into alignment. Ignoring this movement is possible, but it comes at a cost. When life begins to move, it expects only one thing: conscience, not impulsive action, no hasty decisions, but presence. If you feel that something is quietly changing, it's clear that he's not the same person he used to be. It is understood that certain cycles have ended without the need for conflict. Then you're already on the right track. But there's something essential here. Don't back down out of fear. Don't shrink yourself to fit into a space where you've already grown. And don't negotiate away what you took too long to build internally. What's coming demands consistency. It demands clarity. And it demands that you remain true to who you have become. This message wasn't meant to convince anyone. It came to remind us. And if she just reached you now, that's because the next move won't be external. It will be internal. If this message resonated with you, leave a like now. Subscribe to the channel to continue receiving messages when they are needed, not when it is convenient. In the next video, we'll talk about what happens when you don't go back and why. The final silence completely changes the game. Stay alert, because not all answers come in the form of words.